remember we said, or no, you said, I didn't tell you, one of you came up with it. We said that sensorial is where you teach adjectives. It's where you teach adjectives. So we start with very basic, light, dark, heavy, light, hot, cold, right? Up, down, all very basic opposites. But then you can get more complicated, okay? So just like we do isolation of the extremes with all the senses. So if I had a basket and I have a bunch of light items and a bunch of heavy items, and I would give the lesson, I'd be like, this says light. This says heavy. I know the child can't read, and it's okay. And sometimes they'll come, is this the one that says light? I'm like, yeah, that's the one that says light. That's fine. And what you're going to see is the child might think, okay, well, that's light. And they might put light there. So there's a little bit of subjectivity. Obviously, yes, we want to understand the difference of comparison, but you will see that sometimes they're like, well, it's light. It's light, because they're probably comparing it to something else in their head, okay? So, light, okay, this is light, this is heavy. And so then they would compare. And so we have light, heavy, rough, smooth, any other kinds of opposites. Sometimes we have small, medium, large. So this is preparation for classification in science. Okay, again, orderly method, okay? So we have lots of objects of grading and sorting all the different senses, okay? And then I did want to, so we have baskets of objects, and the easiest thing that I like to, around the house, around outside nature. I showed some of you this, but I did want to just do it one time for everybody. So there is a matching system in your sensorial album, because we don't just dump stuff out and make chaos. We have to teach the child a method of doing everything. We have to have a method. So I have an assortment of objects, and I want them to match, okay? There are not minute differences. This is a pretty easy work, but I could make it more difficult if I had all green leaves that were only different by this much, right? They'd really have to look. And I want that type of work, but this is an easier version. So we always do it this way. So I wanted to show you that sometimes when I have matching objects, they're not exact matches, but it's certainly more of a match than that is, right? And that's what I'm doing, observing, comparing, problem solving, all that, interacting with the world. So sometimes you can have three, just because we say pairing doesn't mean it has to be two. I could have three or two or three or four, okay? So this is matching unlike things, but you might want to match things that are very, very similar with very minute differences. So the last thing I want to say is that I think you can see that practical life, OCCISC, order, concentration, coordination, independence, and self-esteem directly supports the sensorial curriculum. Order, concentration, coordination, independence, all this.